From Walmart to tragedy, how racial profiling and overzealous policing led to a fatal encounter. In February 2025, a routine shopping trip to Walmart turned into a tragic nightmare for Denise Williams and her 6-year-old daughter, Aaliyah. What began as a simple errand ended with a mother brutalized, a child forced to defend herself, and a police officer dead, all sparked by a false accusation from a store employee. This heartbreaking incident exposes the dangers of racial profiling and the systemic oppression faced by Black Indigenous Americans. If you're ready to understand how these tragic events reflect deeper issues in our society, subscribe to this channel and stay tuned.
38-year-old Denise Williams and her 6-year-old daughter Aaliyah went to Walmart to buy a TV. As they're leaving, the receipt flies out of Denise's bag. She doesn't realize it till she gets to the door. Trevor, the Walmart employee, stopped her, asked for proof of purchase. She realized it was missing. She flags down the cashier that had just processed the transaction. Cashier confirms it, but he is insisting that she cannot leave without a receipt. She's frustrated and determined not to cause a scene. Denise proceeded to her car and waved down a man in the parking lot to ask for help to load the TV into her car. As they're doing that, Officer Lindsay Carter pulls up. She has a reputation of being overly zealous. She exited the vehicle with her hand already resting on the holster gun. Trevor called the police, claiming that she had stolen the TV and assaulted him on her way out. Officer Carter immediately confronted Denise, accusing her of theft and demanding that she put her hands behind her back. Denise, caught off guard, tried to explain that she had already paid for the TV and confirmed it with the cashier, but Carter's tone grew increasingly aggressive. When Denise hesitated to comply with being handcuffed, pleading that she'd done nothing wrong, Officer Carter grabbed Denise by the arm, struck her in the ribs, and forced her to the ground, placing her in a chokehold as Denise gasped for air. Aaliyah, still seated in the SUV, watched in horror as her mother struggled. Panicking, she remembered the firearm her mother kept in the glove compartment for protection, a weapon Denise had taught her to handle safely. Acting out of fear and desperation, Aaliyah retrieved the gun, stepped out of the SUV, pointed it at Officer Carter, screaming for her to stop. When Carter turned toward Aaliyah and appeared to reach for her own weapon, Aaliyah fired a single precise shot, striking the officer in the eye. Carter collapsed to the ground dead. Aaliyah immediately dropped the gun and rushed to her mother's side, sobbing and begging for her to wake up. As Denise is regaining consciousness, more officers are arriving on the scene. They are both taken into custody, but after thorough investigation, they were cleared of any wrongdoing. They also watched the footage of her buying the TV. And Aaliyah is basically deemed a hero, is justifiable as she acted in defense of her mother's life.
This was not an isolated incident. It reflects a larger pattern of how corporations weaponize law enforcement against Black and Indigenous people. Racial profiling. Retail stores often target Black and Indigenous shoppers with baseless accusations, leading to dire consequences. Overzealous policing. Officer Lindsay Carter escalated the situation instead of de-escalating, treating Denise as a suspect rather than a citizen. The aggression shown by law enforcement mirrors a long history of systemic violence against our communities. The turning point came when Aaliyah, in a desperate act of self-defense, had to confront the violence that threatened her mother. This moment encapsulated the harsh reality faced by many Indigenous women and children forced to navigate a world where their very existence is criminalized. In this tragic encounter, Denise and Aaliyah became symbols of resistance against a system that seeks to erase their identity and humanity. The aftermath of this incident has far-reaching consequences. 1. Generational trauma. Denise and Aaliyah must now live with the psychological scars of this encounter. 2. Lack of accountability. Trevor remains unpunished for his false accusations, while Denise faces the repercussions of a system that treats her as guilty. 3. Call for justice. This tragedy demands that Walmart, law enforcement, and the judicial system be held accountable for their roles in perpetuating racial profiling and violence. This case is not just about one mother and daughter, it's a reflection of the systemic failures that continuously endanger our people. Denise and Aaliyah's story is a painful reminder of the ongoing struggle against racial profiling and systemic oppression faced by Black Indigenous Americans. At Reclaiming My Story, we are committed to amplifying these voices and fighting against the injustices that silence our communities. If you stand with us in the fight for justice and accountability, like this video, share it and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can challenge the systems that harm us and reclaim our narratives. Let's ensure that stories like Denise and Aaliyah's are heard, remembered, and never silenced again.